Right now, you should probably click on Start Broadcast.
Yeah, I think you can hear stuff now.
Right now, you should probably click on Start Broadcast.
Yeah, I think you can hear stuff now.
Right now, probably click on Start Broadcast.
Yeah, I think you can hear stuff now. Do you see something? All right. So, do you hear me, guys? The microphone was muted, so I guess. All right. So, do you hear me, guys? The microphone was muted, so I guess. All right. So, do you hear me, guys? All right. So basically, what I was saying while my microphone was muted was that first I present myself. Let me present myself. My name is Tarek Raoult, and I'm CEO at Sci-Code. And basically, Sci-Code is a startup which has been launched 1 year ago now. And what we're trying is that we're trying to build a platform. We're trying to optimize education, specifically for coding and ICT related course. So we're trying to optimize the way the teacher teaches ICT and how the student learn as well. And what I was saying also is that feel free to use the chats to ask any question you may have, or if you have any information to add, for example, to share this information or this question to everyone on the stream. This tool is very useful for this. So this workshop is about VR. It's a little introduction to VR. We wanted to just give the tool for you to be able to create a scene, to create some little animation, and just an environment, very simple environment, and I think it will be very good as an introduction. So everybody is ready here. You can use the chat to answer. All right. So let's begin. The thing that you're seeing right now is basically our platform, is our student platform that we have developed. And what I will do here is that I will share with you the link, so you will be able to code with us, to code with us, and to follow the instructions that I will communicate with you to you. Okay. So I invite you to use your laptops and to go to this link that will appear on the chat. So it seems that the quality is not good enough. Let me change that. Do you see more clearly? Okay, I will change then. Might be better like this. All right. So if you're able to see everything that I'm presenting right now with the, I mean, we're sorry for this little CSS matter, because I just increased the what I invite you to go to the chat, to the YouTube chat on the link, and you will sign up them to our platform and have access to what I'm seeing right now, but without the code and without these results. All right. So basically, after this little workshop, you will be able to create an environment, a VR environment, very simple one with animation, lights, ground, sky, like background in general, and a different form and type of entity, and you will be able to go across your world that you created, that you would create, and use VR headsets in order to see and to be integrated directly into the thing that you would create. So I think so for me it's very exciting, and yeah, I invite you. Let's begin. So just to tell you, there is a latency of maybe 10 seconds. So what I'm saying right now will arrive with 10-second delays in your screen. So yeah, if you have any question, it will take 10 seconds for me to answer. All right. So if you see clearly, let's begin. Let's begin the workshop. Have you all signed up? All right, so I will sign up with you. Don't worry. I will just yeah, I would just show you. I would just okay. So the CEO Magnus has just sent the link. But basically, oh man. Basically just going to this link, and then you will have a form that opens. Like that. All right, so basically signing up is very simple. Subscription page, you put your name, surname, email, password, you put your level in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, web programming in general, and prove that you're not a robot. And then when you confirm, you will get to this page, and then you will be able to be on the same page and begin on the same page. So I just let you like a little bit of time to sign up. But you should see, yeah, this page basically. I'll wait. I'll wait. Absolutely no problem. I will make sure to start and to wait until everybody's ready. In the meantime, I will just show you like the kind of project that we can. I'll just show you the kind of project that we can create using a frame. So this is the type. This is the type of. This is a type of environment. I mean, this one can take a lot of time, but this is the type of environment that we can create using this library and using a frame. So with animation, with a lot of different textures that is, you know, linked to the environment in general and to each entities. And the way to just move around and having this beautiful results. So can you imagine if you have that headsets on headsets being directly there just on the website? I mean, that's the future right here. And very soon with this type of technology, you will be able to create even a website with the entire Louvre Museum in it. All right, so I guess now everyone is ready. I just ask for confirmation. I just wait 20 more seconds. All right, so I have the confirmation that everyone is ready. So we can officially begin. All right, so normally you should have like this screen on your device. So welcome to DiggIT. So this is a platform that we have created, and basically will allow us to work and to do this workshop all together online. So in the left part, basically you will have the lesson. In the left part, you have the lesson with the exercise set. So you will be able to choose the exercises, and you will be able to answer those exercises using this editor right here. And this editor is also composed by three different editors: one for HTML, one for CSS, and one for JavaScript. However, in today's workshop, A-Frame, the library that we will use to create this VR environment, is completely and totally HTML based, which means that we want those CSS and JavaScript tabs and editors won't be needed for today. All right, so refresh. All right, so you should see the screen. So we should have right now the same screen, and let's begin at the same at the same time. So I will begin this VR introduction, this workshop, by talking about the different libraries that is used by developers to code VR into websites. So I showed you the example that we have worked on the museum. The best framework, and that's the one that we will use right now, is a frame. At least is the best framework, the most practical, because it's HTML based, which means that it's simpler to code, and you can code in any cloud computing. You don't even have to install anything. You just have to take just have to take this script and putting it and injecting the script with this src to your head, and this will be enough to begin clearly. And that's why A-Frame is mostly used. And what is A-Frame basically? So A-Frame is a VR library, HTML based. And basically, what it does is that it's basically it's a symbiosis of two very important web technology, which are they say that there is no sound. I apologize for that. One sec. I tried to solve the problem as fast as possible. Okay, it was just a bug. So yeah, tell me and notify me if there is any type of sounds bugging, etc., or sound lag. So I just have to repeat, so we get the information loud and clear. So A-Frame is simple, is HTML based. It works with a lot of headset technology, and basically it's a symbiosis. It's a fusion, really, between two very important web technology, which are 3.js, which is mainly used to create 3D environments and 3D objects, 3D entities, etc. And WebVR, which basically is the VR for the web, and they just come across and use those two technologies to make it possible to create using HTML and only HTML 3.js 3D models, 3D objects in a VR environment in your website. So I will, throughout the whole workshop, I will try to be as clear as possible, and I will have, I think, to introduce some HTML tags and some HTML concepts, so everything is as clear as possible. So I invite you, of course, to read all the information here. I think, of course, there's just a typo. Don't mind the typo over there. But each of those paragraphs are quite important to understand. Like to at least have some details and some information about the different technology that is used by a frame. But yeah, really everything can be described and summarized by a frame. Is basically 3.js plus WebVR, and allow you to code a VR environment for your website only using HTML. And HTML is a very simple language. It's very it's easy to learn at least. And then it's making VR accessible for a lot of people, and at least to any web developer. Also, a frame doesn't need any previous or prerequisites environment or installation. So just this little script is enough. All right. So I invite you to copy paste this code snippet. So we'll begin this. The practice and the practice now. Enough with the theory. So basically, we will use now the feature of DiggIT of this platform, and we will do it together, so that no one is lost and that everything is clear. So I will ask you. You may want to copy paste this little script without any errors, please, into the index.html tabs. So this will be our index.html, and index.html basically it's our file. It will be our HTML file for this workshop. And what you see here is first. Right here is the editor. So here you are free, and I invite you to code, to try, to play, to test any kind of code, anything you want to appear and you want to build, and basically you will be able to see the result by clicking on preview right here. So for example, if I add here my name, I preview it, it will appear there. So we kind of created a cloud computing space for you guys, so you can try any kind of code you want in this editor. And basically for every exercise, so here, sorry, we are in the exercise 1. So copy paste this code snippet onto the HTML editor. So this is the description of the exercise and the tasks that we'll go through. Of course, we will do it together, so no one will be lost. But I will let every time maybe like 2-3 minutes for everyone, so they are able to code on their own, and that everyone can try and test and enjoy themselves with this editor and this preview. Here, very important. Here is the, if you have, if it happens that you have a headset, you can go in VR mode using this and by clicking on this, and then of course here it's completely black because the VR environment is not set. So yeah. But by clicking on here, on this button right here, you can full screen it, and then you can see my name here that I have written on the body. You can, if you want, you can add some scripts as well. It works. You have the alert with the famous cuckoo. And you have also the console here. So this is the console. The description of the tasks are in the left part. and you will write basically answer on the editor and click on submit when you finish. And basically we have built an automatic correction system which will basically check the code and verify if everything is correct or not, and give you some feedback if you have, for example, forgotten some tags or having some little errors. You can have also the errors here. For example, if I remove it here, you can see it directly. So this is practical as well. And also when you will preview, when you click on preview here, if there is any mistakes on the code, it will appear on the console here. So everyone has everyone copy pasted the codes into the HTML editor? All right, so before we move on, so everyone is in the first exercise, huh? This one, the copy paste, this code snippet, the most, I mean, it's the just a tutorial basically. Basically, what I wanted to explain is this important thing. So, what is important is first to use the head here, so the head of your website basically, and add a script. And this script is very important because this script is linked and it's located in a frame servers, and it's all the library. It's all the library basically that you will need, and this library will contain all the functions that you will use to create your VR website basically. So what is very important here also is the scene. So if you know HTML, you wish that's not a common HTML tag. It's a special tag linked with a frame library, and basically what it does that this script right here will basically detect this kind of special frame tag, and you will render them into 3.js JavaScript code, and this kind of tags and way to code basically it's like creating a bridge between HTML and JavaScript, because the frame works in HTML and 3.js is in JavaScript. So when you have your scene ready, then it's a beginning. It's a beginning. You have your scene created, but if you make it in VR mode, you will see that doesn't exist. I mean, it exists, but it's empty. And when it's empty, of course, you have the void and you have the darkness, basically. So we will put some light. Don't worry. We'll put some entity. We'll put some light. We'll put some background, etc. So if you have finished, I mean, to copy paste, if everyone has finished, basically, you just click on submit. And here you see nice task completed. Your answer is correct. So we can move on. All right, so after creating the scene, so here we're creating the scene, we're creating the universe basically. So let's add some objects. Let's create some objects that will be inside your universe and will interact inside your universe. And to do so, there is different ways to do it. You can use the A box, which is the most simplest. Basically, it's a cube, or it's a kind of like rectangle-ish in 3D. And we can use A entity as well. The A entity tag is more complex to use. We will use it at the end. You will understand, I think, better if we introduce it in the end, at the end of the workshop. And here you will understand why a frame is so practical and why they chose to be HTML based, is because HTML allow us to put in a very simple way, in a very intuitive way, like objects inside assemblies. So here ascend and basically they exploit this parent-child relationship. And here ascend, which is the universe, which is the environment, the total environment of your VR website, will be the parents, and we will copy paste this little entity inside of this universe. And here you see that a box here is the child of a scene. So first, I invite you to go to the next exercise. So click on the next exercise and to get, of course, the description of the task. So here the task will be to add different boxes in different position, rotation, scale, and color. And basically the idea is to make it so the box doesn't, and the boxes don't touch each other. They don't touch each other, don't interact with each other. And basically here it will be an exercise of getting and going into your environment and checking is the boxes are touching each other, etc. So you just change the position. You kind of try. It's a good exercise to understand how the position, how the rotation, etc. works, and to see the result directly into the preview. So here, let's first try with this very simple example from copy pasted from this code snippet here. So if I preview it, what do we see? Let's click on it. What do we see? We see our cube. We see our cube. So previously, when we have created the scene, in the previous exercise, we have created the scene. It was completely void. We have only darkness, etc. But everything was there actually. Like the entire universe was there. The possibility of looking around was there. The possibility of even moving was already there. It's to really it makes you understand how crazy simple and how crazy powerful a frame is as a library. It's incredible. And here we have the proof that it works because we have a reference now with a different color, which is our beautiful box here at this position. So you have to understand here that what do you see is a sphere, basically. It's a huge sphere. We are inside a huge sphere, which is the scene, the scene of the VR website, and in the center of the sphere at the position 0, 0, 0, it's our camera. So we begin at the position 0, 0, 0, and then we can move around, etc. So the important the important thing that you have to understand is that this position here is in 3D. So if you have done some math, it will remind you some maybe painful memories. So here is the X. This is for the Y, and this is for the Z coordinates. And basically, you can try and experiment different type of box. Let's try other boxes. And let's put them further. And basically, the idea for you would be to to understand how it works, how everything works. So to experiment what exactly those coordinate means by experimenting and looking and searching on your boxes. But what you have to understand is basically that those coordinates are in meter units, and this is important to know. And this is important to know because also it has a difference when you render it on the computer and when you are in the headset in the environment. So basically, what I suggest to understand this 3D environment and the link with the coordinates is that you use the right-handed coordinate system. So x So what I suggest is that you use your right hand basically, and the floor we can kinda understand that there is a floor here. Basically, this is the x equals 0 plan. The y is on the exactly here. So basically, the floor is the x is a plan with the equation x equals 0, and the y is basically the of course the perpendicular, and the z is the depth. So the depth from your point of view. So for example, if I change that to -10 for the red one, we will look down. You see, so they are kind of the same position, but down if it's minus, and up if it's positive. So let's try, for example, with this. If I put 3 for this light blue box, since it's the profounder, since in the depth, sorry. Wait first here. So if we look here, I was quite I was lost. It was way too close. So yeah, if I make it a little bit further instead of behind me, then yeah. So basically, if you go further from you at the direction where you begin, basically you face the negative Z plan. If you allow me to talk like this, and for example, if I put a bigger number, then it goes further. If I put 10 here, it's behind me. As you can see here. So exercise time. So exercise 2, I invite you to create 3 different boxes and try to play with this rotation, to play with the scale and the color as well. So here the rotation, it's in radian. Oh no, sorry, it's in degrees. In degrees, 45 degrees. So we can play with that as well. We can change the whole rotation of it. And let's change the scale as well. The scale will be a transformation to make it bigger or smaller, basically. So, and then with the scale, we can use the scale to change the form. So it was a cube. It's a cube by default. That is better. There you go. You are here. And by changing a scale with the different value for the three coordinates here, you can create a different form of boxes basically. All right. So exercise time. I invite you to create and to play with this VR thing to discover it a little bit, and you can. I mean, I actually invite you to create more than three boxes with a different and different position, different rotation, different scales. Also, it will help you to give you some how can I say some way to know where you are and where you're at in this blank universe, because it's completely empty. That was crazy at the beginning. But don't worry, we'll put some light. There is already a light predefined. You can see it here quite clearly. But we'll add other light. We'll add a floor, and then you will be able to know your directions and not to be completely lost. So I give you 2 minutes, I would say, to do this little exercise. There is 5 other little exercises like this, a little bit intuitive like this, and quite fun. And yeah, and you first, this is the beginning. We begin by the box, and then we will move on to different type of forms, and we will create a sky background, etc. After that. So I'll let you play with those boxes in this first part. All right, so everyone is ready for the following. All right, just to verify everything has been correct. At least the very minimum has been corrected. I have to refresh. I'll just wait just for confirmation that I can pursue. So I'm just asking confirmation if I can continue. I just want to that everyone is able to completely enjoy the technology and the platform. I think that we can move on. It's very, I mean, it's very simple. So while you were doing the exercise, I was just adding some code here, and we will see two things right here and right now. It's first taking a look, a closer look on child time playing with other kind of entity. So far we used boxes with different kinds. We can create at the same time square, but also like rectangle in 3D. And by using using a sphere here, you can create spheres and cylinders right there. And here, if you take a closer look here, you will see and you will notice that this tag is inside the A box, and that this cylinder is inside the sphere. So, and that's the very like beautiful thing about a frame, is that they have created this system using this HTML characteristics, and they linked it to very clear, very um, uh, uh, in a very clever way with 3.js and how 3.js works, this parent-child relationship. And here it's so simple. It's just if you want a cylinder inside a sphere, inside a box, you just have to do the same using the git tag in your HTML code. It's extremely straightforward. And I think, as you can guess, the position and all the attributes, because there's not just position, rotation, and color. All the attributes that you can set for your box and for your parents, it is inherited by the children. So the children inherits the attributes of the box, and if you apply an attribute for example, the same attribute position but a different value, it will just recalculate it according to the parent's position. So, for example, if we put a box just in front of you, which is basically a -1, 0.5, and -5, and you put a sphere inside, the sphere would be inside the box in the same position. Then if you apply a position 103, it will be at 103 from the parent's position, and not from 000, which is your initial position. Do you understand? So basically, it's like a translation. Actually, it's that simple. All the boxes and all the entity begins at the same position as you do when you launch the preview, which is 000. So when it's minus for the parent's position, when it's -1, 0.5, -5, basically a vector, a translation has been applied to this entity from your initial position, and then for the child and for the children of the entity that we're talking about, the position and the translation will be applied from the parent's position and not from the origin of the whole VR environment. And then you can play with this thing. For example, if you think that a cylinder or that a sphere should be and should work all together and be linked, then you just apply a parent-child relationship on it. So I propose, I suggest that you do the same thing for the DiggIT3. So just add a cylinder and sphere, and just try to play with this child-parents relationship. Just try to apply different scale, different position, different rotation, and you will see how exactly how this works in your VR environment. So here I applied um, relationship between this sphere right here is inside this box, and this cylinder here is inside the sphere. So basically, I applied a certain position, which is equal x, for example, and then we can say that this box here is at vector. I mean, the vector x kind of coordinates, if we can summarize by x, has been applied to this box from our side, from our point of view, and a vector has been applied to this sphere from the center of the box, basically. If there is a certain thing that you missed, or do you think you missed, feel free to just um, just like replay the video, or try to find the pieces that you missed. This video will be anyway public. It's public. It's completely available for you guys at any time. So just feel free to check it whenever you feel the ending. So here it's the exercise 3 here. So try to add, like, for example, 3 cylinders and 2 spheres, and try to create a parent-child relationship between all of them, and just contemplate these beautiful results in preview. I just remind you that you have the submit button here when you think you finished the exercise, just so we can move on. Just to check very simply the code, verify the basic mistakes, but really here the most important is to dig into the direct result of your work, because this is the most important. And what is beautiful is that you can and what is beautiful with VR is that it's in 3D, so you have this natural notion, and you can understand very clearly the distance between the objects that you're creating, and here there is the sphere can show us the transformation on of this VR effect. Actually, it's quite straightforward. It's just on the side when an object is reached on the side of on the extremity of your view. The forms are completely stretched, so it gives this and this impression of distance also. Yeah, this is not a very it's not a unique technology. This has been used in video games from now almost 15, maybe 13 years ago. If you know, for example, the Source engine from developed by Valve. I remember that they were one of those engines who used this kind of effect, which is quite beautiful. And when it's in VR, basically, when you touch this touch this button, basically, it detects automatically if there is a VR set connected to your computer, if there is a VR device, etc. And then if you have, then it will cut it will replicate this view and into basically in two different origins. So you will have the screen cut in half, and you will see the sphere here, and the sphere here, and another sphere here, but it's the same sphere, and you will see it basically with two different points of view, and those different two points of view recreates your eyes exactly, and that's how you have this feeling of being inside the environment. So it's not like a crazy new technology. It's just different technologies that they put an effect that they put together to recreate this beautiful thing. And that's what I love about a VR and a frame in particular. Like this, you can really understand clearly the distance. Beautiful. All right, so I just give you some moment. I just check and get confirmation from Magnus. If you, I just check if you first, if you haven't asked any question. No question asked. No question asked. But I think I will just, I guess I will just move on. Once I can just give, I just ask for one confirmation. All right, so from this time I will continue without interruption. So we have created a universe. We have created entities which happens to exist in this virtual universe. And now what we need is a background. We need a background to understand where we are and to make it more clear. And for that, we need two things. We need a sky and we need a plane. I mean, we need a ground. And the sky is pretty straightforward. It's quite easy. It's just basically adding a tag called a sky, like a frame. And if you preview it, you see that a sky has been created. So here it's not black anymore. It's this gray, dark gray aura. I think it's quite beautiful. It matches the color here quite nicely. But we can change if you want. You can put any color you want really. If we put a light blue, for example, recreate maybe the sky. Here you have something. It's kind of look like sky. So we have this, and now let's create a ground, and we create a ground using a plane. A plane basically is an entity, like a box, like a sphere, like a cylinder. But it's important that it's not, you know, a child of anyone. This has to be completely independent. And if you use this rotation, so minus 90 degrees, and if you preview it, you will see that you have created a ground. So this is your ground with the reflection of the lights, but you see that your ground is not infinite because you have to set the width and the depth. How it's called here is the height. Sorry. All right, with the ground now, kind of make more sense. We're less lost, I would say. With this ground, you can now understand and play with the arrows. All right. Also note that the keys. I don't know if you use QWERTY, but WQSD works, right? So both works to move around. And here with this ground, which is located exactly, the ground is located exactly kinda like if we were a human. That allow us to basically to have more elements, and it allows to know where we are basically. And you see that the sphere that I've created, and even this cube and this box is because of the rotation that we have applied on those entities, they cross the floor. I mean, it's absolutely normal. Why? Because we haven't coded any laws of physics. We haven't coded any laws and any rules of interaction, etc. But this, of course, can be done, and creating these environments is the first step, and then we will be able to add, but maybe another workshop, because it's way more complicated to add a physical rules and physical like a kind of like a complete engine basically in JavaScript. It takes quite more time and more knowledge. So yeah, but keep in mind, bear in mind that this is completely possible. All right, so have you finished? I don't have the information if you have finished the third exercise, but I will move on. I will just speak slowly so the people late can catch up. So the next exercise basically very straightforward. It's exactly what we've done. Create your own background and try to reproduce a blue sky with a brown ground, basically. So we try to create a sky that we have here in Earth and the ground. Use the brown one. Good. But yeah, that's what I have. The brown has a weird rendering in A-frame. That's more like red. I don't know why. The brown color is actually I think it's the same as the red actually. Okay, it's less red, but still a weird brown. But use it nonetheless. Anyway, we will at the end of the workshop we will use another entirely different environment, and then we will remove those. So it's important because we will put animation afterwards. So put this environment here and use the comments environment. So we'll know basically once we will get the preset environment, so they don't, so they don't have any conflict. All right, so now it's your turn. I realize that there's not a lot of pretty straightforward. One one attribute. So normally it should be finished very rapidly. But what do you think we can do with this type of entity, like a sky? And how can, like, what we can do by this is to play with this. So we can make it large enough so it looks like until maybe the horizon. Never seen meter, so it's like 100 meter basically. But if you take 1 kilometer, then you will reach the end. It will take some time to reach the end, so you can create very easily like a horizon by putting a very large number here. So this is for the plane, but for the sky and for the plane, what can we do with those beautiful entities? There is a way using A-frame to create textures. So what we can do here is that I don't think we'll have the time to do it for this workshop, but for next workshop, for another workshop, what we can do is we'll be able to try to get a texture from libraries, preset libraries, or your textures, sorry, that you have created, and basically put maybe a photo, and then you will have a 360 degrees photo here. And basically, this might remind you actually Google Streets or Google Map when you have these bubbles, this 360 degrees photo, and basically to use the same technology really. All of this can be applied to your websites, guys. So keep this in mind. All right, so for the exercise, try to add like some light blue color, or if you know your hexadecimals, you can try to be more precise and use hexadecimal color. Use brown though for the grounds. Can move to the animation. I give you some like 3 minutes. All right, guys. So let's move on to the All right. So what is you have a universe, you have entities, now you have a background, so you know where you are, where you at in the universe that you created. And what is important, what is possible to do is to animate them, animate your entities, make them move and the way you want, the direction that you want, etc. So there is many ways to do so. The simplest way that we will learn in this workshop is this one. This uh, this one. And what you need to understand is that an animation is a child. It is a child entity. It's a special entity, and basically it has to be inside of an object or another entity which is tangible, like a box, a sphere, a cylinder, etc. If Because if you apply it to the scene, then nothing will happen. If you apply it to the sky, nothing will happen. So basically, uh, let's do it for a box, for something tangible that we can see, and just copy paste this template into, for example, box. Let's do this one. I have the red one, the little one that I've created. Here, what you need to understand is that how can we translate that into English? Basically, this animation inside this box will animate this box from the position -1, 10, -3 to -1, 5, -3, and it will repeat indefinitely without end, and the direction will alternate at every cycle. So there is one cycle, then it repeats, then the direction is altered, it comes back to the initial position and comes back, etc., etc. And that the whole process of one cycle, which means that from this position to this one, is 2000 milliseconds. So let's try it. So here I have my preview. Let's Google it. Let's go into the video, and you see here, yeah, you see the box going and coming back infinitely. And with these 2000 milliseconds, you have this smooth move, and you can apply that, and you can apply those. And I invite you to play with this animation as much as possible, because it's really fun, it's amazing, and it's the best way to learn anyway. Now, before you move to the exercise here, the exercise 5, let's try, let's experiment. Let's try it into this box, for example. What will happen if I put this animation to this box? So let's step back a sec to have a better view of what is happening here. And I would like you to understand and to guess why basically the three objects, the three entities here is moving at the same time, at the same speed, at the same rhythm, etc. It's because, and I think you guessed it right, that this animation is basically appended and applied to the box, which is the parent. And since the sphere is a child of the box, and this cylinder that you can see here in blue is a child of the sphere, which is a child of the box, then all this animation is applied to them. It's applied to all the childs or the children um, of the box. And this is where the thing that I've introduced earlier, which is this parent-child relationship, is so important because it will allow you uh, to to um, to code in this way and to exploit this possibility. So as you can see here, since there's no interaction, there's no rules, nothing can right now, nothing is stopping this red entity to go across uh, this one and to go across the ground because for mathematically and for the machine, for your computer, all of these forms are just points basically, and then they just render a texture around it. Once you will follow our 3.js workshops, you will understand that basically all these objects is just dots moving, and basically the computer is just rendering automatically every milliseconds a texture which a special format around the point, and basically they just apply to the texture a mathematical formula, which is of course different for this cylinder and for this, and which is different from this sphere, for example, in order to arrive and to get these results. The good thing about a frame is that they take care of that. You don't have to do it yourself. But basically, everything you see here can be coded in native JavaScript. But then it would be so hard. So why I was talking about that is because what I would like for this exercise is that you create an animation for every of your entities, and make sure that the entity and the entities that you have created doesn't touch and don't touch each other. The hair is touching each other. What I would like is that you, for example, play with or you add other animations, and you play with the attributes. Uh, you can play with the attributes, for example, in order to not make them touch. I give you 5 minutes, 5 minutes to complete this exercise and just to enjoy it. Of course, now that you have now that you have now that you're signed up to our system, you can come back anytime and play with this thing. All right. So I think I gave enough time to finish the exercise. So let's move on. So now that we know how to animate our entities, I think we have done pretty much a good part of this introduction. So basically, just give me one second. All right. So now let's move on to just remove. So now I just invite you to add some lights and some sounds and maybe a text, maybe your name, for example. So let's do that right away. Here I prepared for you a code snippet with the template that you can use, and let's just analyze that step by step. You can put them at the bottom if you want, no problem. So a text is very straightforward. It's a value which is a string. A string basically just a text. We can put, for example, your name, hello, a frame. I would say hello from Sci-Code. Here is dope. And then with the color, the position is very important. The scale basically is the size of the whole thing. To be able to see that more clearly, I would just shut off this animation of the scaling animation. I would just put that into position instead. And let's get back to what is interesting here. So after the text, we have the light, and there is two different type of lights, but it's the same. It's the same type. It's just different type here, which is an attribute of the type. And ambient, basically, it's from everywhere. So is the kind of light. It's like the sun, for example. There is no direction. It comes from absolutely everywhere. And basically it will be set with the sky, and basically the sky will launch like lights. Here it's related to a position. So basically it's like a lamp. It's like it's like a lamp which will give lights with this intensity and at this location. So let's try it. So so here you see the beautiful VR, text that you can see here, and it's quite dark now, isn't it? Where is the light? And here you can see the lights using our ground. You can see that the location of the light is just above, and the intensity is not very intense, basically. So we can arrange that. And here you see that this sun, this little lamp that we put, has way more lights now. It's very local. So why basically it seems dark? It seems dark because it just the luminosity here is calculated like the human eye, so relatively. So when you have a huge source of light nearby, basically the camera will accommodate the luminosity depending this light. So if I remove it, then it will be the ambient light. The ambient light will be more intense, but just will feel more intense because there is not a huge source of light, punctual light nearby. That's all. Again, as you can see here, when the cube come between us and the source of light, there is absolutely no shadow, and because I told you earlier that all this is just points basically, and just how they are rendered. And here there is no rules saying that this cube should stop the light. So the light goes across the cube because it's just a minuscule point, and that's how there is no shadow. So this basically will be taught in another workshop. All right, so now there is another thing here that I haven't talked about is the sound, and this is amazing. Here I give you a bank of sound, just one sound, but basically it's just a background one that you can use. And here there is the same as the light. There is ambient sound, and then there is a sound that you hear everywhere, and there is punctual sound that is related to a position. So this sound is in the position -3, 1, -4. So if we go, if we come closer, the sound will be louder, and the opposite if we are escaping from this position. So it works like the lights also in terms of relativity, which means that if we go closer to a punctual sound, it will kind of cover the ambient sound as well. So I truly invite you to play with the different sound that you can find. I just have one problem. There is just one problem though. Is the problem of course origin, which means that if you want to bring and if you want to get image and sounds from the internet, you might have some issues, security issues, and thus won't be allowed. Here, for example, the sound from this website from a frame has a header which specifically in their servers allow you to use this in any kind of platform. So that's why it's doable here, but it's not the case with all the sounds that you can find on the internet. It's not the case with also all the images. So don't be surprised if if some image or textures or models or image doesn't work. It's just a security matter. And that's true. I agree with you on this. It's quite annoying. So now what we will finish right now, and we will end this presentation and this workshop by just removing and copy pasting this little thing here. We just remove the environment that we have created, and basically we will just where is it? We will just retrieve a complete prepared one, prepared by a professional and by a web developer. You can do the same. You can create your own environment from another like file, and then call it here. What you have to do here is type the script right there. I will put it as a comment into the YouTube comments section. All right, and now that this is done, you can call it by setting something that I mentioned earlier, which is the entity type. I'll give it to you. Still in the comment section, you will find the little code, but it's very straightforward. Basically, it's just an environment here, and let's test it. So you see that the CPU is used a lot. And here, what do we have here? Look at this. This is dope. What do we have here is a forest. So this is basically a set environment that you saw at the beginning. And basically what they have done, they have created the ground with the little hills and big enough. Also, it's this is a lot of work, and it can cross a little bit. So it's without physics and the physics rules, but still it's beautiful one, and it's quite large actually. I'm trying to get into the rear of the limit, but we can see the limit here. Beautiful sky. And what is absolutely incredible with this environment is that they have put scripts which kind of recreate like this feeling when something is very far, when you have like a lot of atmosphere between you and the target that you see, and this is rendered absolutely in an amazing way. And this is a website, and you see that when we come closer, there is less kind of like a pollution, like a little fog, and it's incredible. I really love that. I really love that thing. As you can see, the light source that we have, so it's still there. It's still set and quite intense. the VR dope text as well. So I mean, that's it, guy. This is the introduction to VR using a frame. It was a pleasure for me to show you and really to try at least to make you understand these little concepts. Very simple, but quite efficient. And yeah, we'll prepare a lot more workshops on VR in general and coding, and that's what we do here in Sci-Code anyway. And I hope that you'll be interested to continue and to pursue the journey with us. The next workshops will be using a frame, so it will be going more in details into all the attributes and trying to build a project which is more complex than this. I just give you I just I will just show you at the end something. I will re-show you because I showed it at the beginning. But what is possible to do with this beautiful library? So this is Cricopia's The Hall. So basically, it's a museum created using a frame and using the same thing that you have used. The code behind this is not that. The sound is quite high. It's a sound of a museum background, but yeah, it's the code here behind that is it's really the same, and the texture will appear in an instant. Just take some time because of internet latency. And really it's just using the animation, using the models. So here maybe the difference thing is that the a box that they're using, the entity that they're using, model and the basics and the tags that you have come across during these workshops is not that it's not that far. It's not that it's really similar. And our goal here with those workshops is that you guys are able to do an amazing website in VR using this library and using 3.js. So of course we will come across 3.js and web VR at some point. But of course a frame, if you are good enough, a frame will have some limitation, and some 3.js will help you on that. But damn, the result is absolutely outstanding. It's absolutely beautiful, amazing. So I really hope that you enjoy this workshop as much as I enjoyed, and don't forget to, as always, don't forget to smash that like button and to leave in comments, to share, and I hope we will see each other soon. So thanks for watching, guys. Starts out.